Reflective equilibrium is an influential concept in philosophy. During the COVID-19 pandemic in 2020 to 2022, debates raged about how much public life and the economy needed to be locked down to prevent the spread of the disease. These debates concerned how to balance lives against livelihoods and health against prosperity. Health officials recommended strong measures, such as closing businesses, but many political leaders tried to keep the economy functioning. Other conflicts in this balancing act included reconciling individual freedom with social controls, such as requiring people to wear masks and to practice social distancing. I became increasingly curious about how the concepts of balance and vertigo are used in diverse fields, and how these uses are related to biological ideas from physiology and medicine. Is there any connection between balancing the body and balancing the world, between physiology and society? This audiobook begins with biological explanations of how the brain manages to balance the body and of how breakdowns in this management can lead to failures, such as vertigo. A crucial question neglected by balance experts is why conscious feelings are associated with successful balance and especially with breakdowns, such as dizziness and vertigo. Literal kinds of balance, as well as failings, such as vertigo, give rise to rich metaphors that pervade discussions of nature, medicine, society, the arts, and philosophy. I will show that the brain's ability to interpret many kinds of sensory inputs that influence balance is mirrored by the coherence and usefulness of many balance metaphors. Our minds expand on the body's balance to understand the rest of the world. The puzzle of balance. In 2012, Nick Wallenda walked a tightrope across Niagara Falls. He had to deal with high winds, wet air, and a narrow rope, whereas ordinary people only have to walk along sidewalks and paths. But even ordinary walking has its perils, such as sidewalk cracks to step into and pathway roots to trip over. Nevertheless, people usually manage to make their way around the world without falling down or getting dizzy. To keep us balanced, the brains of Wallenda and ordinary people have to solve an extraordinarily complicated puzzle. The pieces of the puzzle come from many sensory sources. Wallenda's eyes enable him to see the tightrope ahead and where his foot is landing on it. Just as important, his arms and legs tell him what is happening with the upper and lower parts of his body and with the pole that he carries. Less obviously, sense organs in his inner ears detect the orientation and movement of his head and alert him if falling starts. Wallenda's senses send conflicting messages to an area of his brainstem that must come up with a coherent interpretation that makes sense of them. Analogously, when people do jigsaw puzzles, they have to put the pieces together in ways that are coherent with the shapes, colors, and content of the pieces. In its pursuit of coherence, the brainstem is aided by other brain areas that send their own signals that are usually helpful but sometimes confusing. The cerebellum provides additional information and expectations about the location and motion of the body. The ocular cortex sends messages concerning the orientation and movements of the eyes, which are constantly reacting to what the body does. The thalamus and hippocampus furnish additional information about sensory inputs and spatial orientation that enables the brain to maintain balance and detect challenges to it. These brain areas and sensory information together produce an overall coherent picture of what is happening in the balanced body, whether it is walking a tightrope or just strolling along a street. How balance fails. Jigsaw puzzles can fail for various reasons. Sometimes pieces are missing because of manufacturing mistakes.